In the beginning of this story, we see some people who were in the business of selling drugs. Then a masked man entered and ran away after robbing all the money. But as soon as he left the house, the police surrounded him, and he was arrested and put in jail. Now during the interrogation, it was discovered that the man's name is Savage, and was a special forces soldier earlier. He fought many battles for his country in Iraq and Afghanistan, and for this, the government gave him many medals. Now when the police commissioner came to know about these things, so he called Savage into his office and asked him why he did this. To this, Savage replied that we are taken care of as long as the country needs us. But as soon as we retire, the government leaves us to die. In fact, Savage also has a daughter, who has lung cancer, and Savage doesn't even have enough money to buy medicine for her daughter. Hearing all this, an idea came to the commissioner's mind, and he decides to send Savage on a mission. In fact, he had received news that a man named Lucas, who is the warden of a prison in the city. He performs many illegal activities inside this prison. Lucas has a legal fight in his prison, and earns money by telecasting it live. Along with this, he also deals drugs with the jail inmates. But despite all this, the police cannot arrest him, because they have no evidence against Lucas. So the commissioner wanted Savage to go to that prison and collect evidence against Lucas and bring it to him. At first, Savage refused the mission. But when the commissioner promised her that the government would bear the cost of her daughter's treatment, so he agreed to do it. Now the next day, Savage was sent to this prison, where a guard named Killian welcomed all the prisoners and tell them the rules of the jail. The prison doctor then inserted a chip into Savage's neck, which was originally a GPS tracker. After that, when Savage reached his room, so he found the phone sent by the commissioner under the bed, so that they can collect the evidence. Now that night when Savage went to eat, so another inmate named James started harassing him for no reason, but Savage gave him no reaction and walked away, ignoring James. He then reaches the backyard of the prison where he meets an inmate named Tony. Here, Tony offers Savage to join his gang, but Savage refused for him and left quietly. That same night, James and his companions attacked Savage. After some time, a prisoner named Bones arrives and helps Savage fight them off. Then the guards also reached there and caught them all and locked them in a dark room. The warden then called James to his office, and in return for this beating, he scolded him well. After a while, Savage also reached the warden's office, but instead of beating him, the warden told him about the fighting competition in the prison. In fact, the warden knew that Savage was a special forces soldier, and his fighting skill is quite good. So he wanted to participate in this fighting competition. He made an offer to Savage if he would participate and beat the best fighter in the prison. So in return, he will be freed from here. Now Savage also liked this offer, because it was a good opportunity to gather evidence against the warden, due to which he accepted this offer, after which he was given a fighting suit, and a lady officer took Savage to a new room. Bones was already in this room, and very soon they both became good friends. After a while, Savage went to the toilet of the prison, and messaged the commissioner and gave information about this illegal fight. Bones, on the other hand, told him that Tony is the champion of the prison. Until date, he has not lost a single fight. That same night, Savage donned his suit and entered the fighting ring with Bones. This ring was known as the dungeon, and there were no rules in the fight here. At the same time, the warden used to telecast the fight live, so that people sitting outside the prison could also bet on this fight. Now after seeing all this, Savage took out the phone and started making a video as evidence. After a while, Tony arrived in the ring, where he was confronted by two prisoners. But despite this, Tony did not get hurt in this fight, and he easily defeated them both. Now it was Savage's turn, and his opponent was another prisoner named Vampirio. Now that Savage was a special forces commando, he defeated his opponent with just one punch, and won his first fight in just 10 seconds. After this fight, Tony approaches the warden and asks him for his freedom. Actually, the warden promised him that the day he becomes the champion of the prison, he will be released from this prison. Now the warden tells him that if you want your freedom, you have to fight another fight. And this fight will be your last fight, which if you win, you will be free forever. Tony had no choice now, so he obeyed the warden. And before leaving, he also threatened the warden if he did not fulfill his promise. So he will create a riot in the prison with his gang. The next day, a lawyer came to see Savage, whose name was Janet. She was a government lawyer who wanted to fight Savage's case and free him from here. Now that Savage was on a mission inside the prison, he refused to hire a lawyer. But he still gave Savage his card so he could call him if he ever changed his mind later. He then went straight to the gym and started preparing for his next fight with Bones, because his next opponent was a very dangerous and cunning fighter. Now the days passed like this, and very soon, the day of the fight came. Here the warden made an announcement about Savage's fight, and sent his opponent into the ring. Now, as the round begins, Savage's opponent runs towards him, but Savage defeated the prisoner with just one punch. Seeing this sight, the rest of the prison inmates lost their senses, and everyone started chanting Savage's name. However, Savage did not react to this win, and returned to his room with Bones. Now that night, both of them celebrated this victory together, and started talking. Now Bones explains that he is in prison because he killed a man who molested his sister, to which Savage says that whatever you did absolutely right, and I know you are not a bad person. After that, Savage arrived at the mess to eat, so as soon as he entered, there was silence everywhere. Actually, all these prisoners were scared to see his fight. Now the next day when Savage was washing his clothes, Tony's men attacked him. But then the jail guard reached there and tried to stop them all, during which the knife hit the guard in the chest and he fell straight on the ground. Savage then rushed the guard to the emergency room, due to which the guard's life was saved. After some time, the warden called Savage into his office and thanked him, because if this guard lost his life, all the secrets of the warden would be revealed. Here the warden asks Savage for the names of the attacking prisoners, and along with his guard Killian, kills them all. After the death of his comrades, Tony went mad with rage, and went to Savage and started challenging him for a fight. Savage didn't pay any attention to him though, and continued his training in silence. He then went before the warden, and asked the warden to fight Tony. The warden was very happy to hear this, as he could have earned millions of dollars from the fight between the two. Therefore, he accepted this offer of Savage, and the date of the fight of both of them was finalized. After which, Savage went to the toilet of the prison, and gave all the information to the commissioner that very soon, he will fight with the best fighter in the prison. Days passed like this, and finally, after a week, the day of the fight came. This time the warden shouted and announced the fight, and also played its live footage, so that people sitting outside the jail can also bet on this fight. Now this fight has started, and both of them started fighting each other fiercely. In the first round, the competition was equal, but in the second round, Savage started to get heavy on Tony. He beats up Tony on the tale of his experience, and beat him badly. Now by defeating Tony, Savage had become the new hero of this prison, and all the prisoners were chanting his name. After the fight, Savage went to his room and sent the videos as evidence. But this time, the commissioner did not give him any reply. When Savage went to eat, the rest of the prison inmates welcomed him and gave him a portion of his food. The warden then called Savage into his office and offered to work with him. Actually, the warden wanted Savage to control all these prisoners and make a lot of money by making them fight with each other. But Savage turned down the offer, because he considered all these prisoners as his brothers. He was then taken by the warden to his secret base where he used to deal drugs with the inmates. He also offered Savage to join the business, to which Savage said that he needs some time to make this decision. But as he was leaving, he put some drug in his pocket so that he could deliver it to the commissioner and reveal the warden's secret. The warden then took him to the office, where the commissioner was already present, after which we find out that both the warden and the commissioner were together. Actually, both of them knew that Savage's fighting skills were quite good, so they cleverly put Savage in jail and earned a lot of money by doing his fights. Knowing all this, Savage lost his senses, and after such a big deception, he was completely broken. Now the warden and the commissioner had a plan that they would now fight Savage against another prison fighter, from which they will earn a lot of money. Here he offered Savage to join him, but when he obeyed them, they called Bones and tortured him badly. Savage had no choice now, and to save his friend's life, he ready to fight. After which he took Bones to his room, and both of them swore that together they would reveal the secret of warden and commissioner. Now Savage called this lawyer, whom he met a few days ago. Here Savage told him all this, and gave all the evidence against the warden to this lawyer. Along with this, he took all the inmates of the jail to his side, and filled their hearts with hatred for the warden. After a few days, the day of the fight came. Meanwhile, the warden of the other prison arrived with Shaka, the best fighter of his prison. Here, both prison wardens bet on their respective fighters, and very soon the fight between them both started. Now during this fight, Shaka started to get heavy on Savage, and in the first round he beat Savage. But as the second round began, Savage injected the stolen drugs into Shaka's eyes, and taking advantage of this opportunity, He hit Shaka so hard that he fell down on the ground, after which Savage gave the signal to all the inmates of the prison, on which the prisoners created havoc in the entire prison. The guards tried hard to stop them, but the number of prisoners was so large that even the guards could not disturb them. At the same time, an army team entered the prison, because this lawyer had given all the evidence to the government, by which the secret of the warden and the commissioner was revealed. Now seeing all this, the warden tried to run away, but soon Savage came before him. Here the warden rained bullets on him, but Savage's bulletproof suit saved his life. Then Bones also came there, and beat the warden and made him worse, after which the army arrested the warden, and took all the inmates of the jail at gunpoint, after which the lawyer said that none other than Savage is the one to deliver all these evidences to him. Now, because of this Savage's bravery, the government dropped all the charges against him, and also paid for his daughter's treatment. Now very soon he was released from jail, and as soon as his daughter's treatment was over, he reached to pick her up. There the warden and the commissioner were put in jail, and because of their evil deeds, they were sentenced to life imprisonment. With that, this wonderful movie ended here. Hope you like this video. You can tell me in the comment which movie you want to see the next explanation.